Okay, so good morning class and welcome to the session. So today we'll start with SQL. Okay, so let's get started. So have people done the installation? Is the view the same as? Are you getting the something similar? Obviously, you would not be having the code. ऐसा ही आ रहा है? Yes. What about those who are in online, guys? Tell me. जो class में, I'll just have a look. कैसा आ रहा है? Okay. Who is this admin? Utkasha, you are admin or someone else is admin? Okay. So let's get started. So I think few people have already attended some classes of SQL, but we will start from very beginning. Oh, MySQL. Or let me just say SQL. So structured query language. Okay. So what do you think this SQL would be used for? What would this SQL be used for? थोड़ा जोर से बोलोगे प्लीज. उसको रो एज कॉलम में कन्वर्ट करते हैं. ठीक है. See, basically there would be a database. So database would be having the data. And data normally, if I'm saying it is a structure, then it would be in form of rows and columns. Okay. Data is normally in rows and columns only. And SQL is used to fetch the information. Used to fetch the data. Fetch the data, insert the data, update the data, delete, whatever. Many things can be using your SQL. So SQL actually though it is not an integral part of data science, but everywhere you would be using SQL. So whether you are using MySQL, whether you are using Oracle database or DB2 database, or whether you are working in AWS or GCP or wherever. So everywhere data would be there, and to get to fetch the data, SQL is needed, right? So for example, these days I am working on AWS Athena. So there also I am writing the same type of queries, right? So, but obviously the queries which we are writing are very huge. तुम लोग उतने huge queries यहाँ पे नहीं पढ़ोगे. But obviously I'll take it up to the industry level, depending upon how people catch it. ठीक है? अगर लगेगा कि people are not able to pick up very advanced queries, then I'll not go there. ठीक है? For example, let's say in probability. So लोगों का mind एक लिमिट के अंदर रिजॉल्व करना बंद कर दिया था, तो मैं रुक गया था. ठीक है? Otherwise you can continue. ठीक है? So depending upon how much you put effort, you will keep on seeing the advanced topic. Okay. Now let's get started. So mainly there are two types of database. Mainly there are two types of databases. बताओ कौन कौन से हो सकते हैं? तुम लोग ने तो SQL कुछ लोगों ने पढ़ा भी हुआ है ना? Structured and unstructured. Very well answered. Structured and unstructured. Very good answer. Structured and unstructured. So what is structured and what is unstructured? ये भी बता दो. अच्छा example के साथ. Example of structured and example of unstructured data. And anyway, we are not going to study unstructured database. We are going to study only the structured database. So example of one of the structured database is the same MySQL. Then it can be your DB2, Oracle. Example of unstructured database can be your HBase, MongoDB, and all those things. Yes. So we would be focusing on this part. So that this is the example of structured and unstructured. But what does this means? I'll not say structured and unstructured, but basically एक गलत word use हो गया है. Instead of structured and unstructured, better word would have been relational and non-relational database. Let's move it. Relational and non-relational database. So example of relational database are MySQL, DB2, Oracle, and non-relational are your these type of things, HBase, MongoDB kind of thing. Okay. Now, what is relational database? कुछ लोग तो कंप्यूटर साइंस वाले हैं ना, बताओ 4 साल में क्या पढ़ा? What does relational database means? Data is stored in a pattern. What do you mean by structured manner? It is saved in normalization form. बस कोई भी word use करते चले जाओ. What is normalization form? It is root. Rule. Sure. See, basically relational database. उसने जो कहा वो भूल जाओ, ज्यादा सही नहीं बोला उसने. Relational database are called relational database because you can, or like we can build relations. We can build relations among the tables. Using the concept of primary key, that is your PK, and foreign key, that is your FK. I have a concept of primary key and foreign key, and using those things, I can build the relation between the or among the tables. That is why they are called relational databases. Okay. इसको note down कर लो. वैसे it's just a theoretical thing, but still. You can build relation among the tables using the concept of primary key and foreign key. And soon you will see what is primary key, what is foreign key, what do we mean by these relations. So you can build the relation among the tables using the concept of primary key and the foreign key. What is primary key? Or first of all, what is a table? Let's see. First of all, let's try to understand what is database, what is table. दोनों में difference क्या है? या दोनों same है? Are they same or are they different? They are different. What is the difference? Database is set of data. Set of tables. Okay. And what is table? Column and rows. So in simple terms, I can say database. In a database, you can have many tables. You can have many tables. Not only tables, you can later on, you can have views also, whatever. And table is nothing but a data which is in form of rows and columns. So you have rows, you have columns. That is your table. So database, you can say it is a kind of, for your understanding purpose, you can say it is a kind of your cupboard. Cupboard or almirah, and tables are the sections or the partitions, whatever in your. So this is the database. And within the database, you can have many tables, table 1, table 2, table 3, till your table n. Okay. Within a database, you can have many tables. And what is table? Table is collection of your data in columns. So the vertical things are known as your columns, C1, C2, C3, C4. And the horizontals are known as your rows, R1, R2, R3, R4. Okay. This is the concept of your database and table. Okay. So obviously we would be creating tables also and database also. Any doubt, any questions till this point? Because Python is not a query language. नहीं, so मैंने ये थोड़ी ना कहा कि you cannot use Python for your query. You can use Python for query. But what is Python? Python क्या है? Python एक language है, programming language है. Can it store a data? क्या वो data store कर सकती है? Let's say, can it store a data of 1 lakh customers? Store करोगे, कहाँ store करोगे? क्या तुम C is a programming language? Can C store data? बताओ. तो data कहाँ पे store होगा? Data किसी database में store होगा. And to get that data, and even to store that data, you need something to store. To fetch that data, you need something. So later on, you can connect your database and Python. And you write a query in Python, which would be fetching the data from database only. Okay? But Python is a programming language. It is not a database. Okay? Now, पाइथन तो अभी आई है, लेट्स से 30 साल पहले। डेटाबेस तो बहुत सालों से यूज हो रहा है, हमारे पैदा होने से भी पहले, तुम्हारे पैदा होने से भी पहले। ठीक है, क्या वही तो मैं भी बता रहा हूँ। माई एसक्यूएल इज अ स्ट्रक्चर्ड क्वेरी लैंग्वेज. It is used to put the data, fetch the data, retrieve the data. As Python is a programming language. ठीक है, in MySQL you cannot write the algorithm for your linear logistic algorithm. Those algorithms can be written only in Python. ठीक है, दोनों का पर्पस ही बिल्कुल अलग अलग है। ठीक है, तुम्हें पता चलेगा, बट तुम्हारा ये वाला जो पार्ट है वो इन अ वे जेन्युइन है। Your query, so we can write our SQL queries in Python also. But you are writing in Python, it would be fetching the data again from the database. Are you getting my point? Because Python is a programming language, it cannot store data. Okay? Okay, now what is primary key? What is primary key? Come on, quick answer. Primary key is a unique key. Okay. Not a very good answer, because unique key and primary key can be unique, but it may not be a primary. Okay. Huh?
सर वो रिपीट नहीं होती प्राइमरी यूनिक.
Okay, let me take it. So basically, primary key is a column. It is a column, or you can say set of columns. So a primary key may consist of only one column, or it can have more than one column also. Okay, column or a set of column whose each entry or each record should be unique. Anything else? It should be unique. That is one thing. And it should not be null. It cannot, primary key cannot have null values. You cannot leave it blank. You cannot have a null values. Any other thing for primary key? It is a relation between another column. Relates between another column. मतलब समझा नहीं? Okay, ठीक है. It should not be null. A table can have how many primary keys? Can have only one primary key. Yes, only one primary key. You cannot have more than one primary key in a single table, but you can have more than one unique. Okay? And uniques can also have nulls, but primary key cannot have null. A table can have only one primary key. Table can have only one primary key. Another point, should every table have a primary key? क्या हर टेबल में प्राइमरी की होनी चाहिए? Yes. Okay. It is not mandatory. It means it is not compulsory to have primary key. Not mandatory for each table to have primary key. It means you can have a table without primary key also. ठीक है, जरूरी नहीं है कि हर टेबल को लिए प्राइमरी की हमें चाहिए. It is not mandatory. Mandatory means compulsory for each table to have primary key. So you can have a table without primary key also. That is your choice. Depends upon your requirement. It is not mandatory for each table to have a primary key. But let's see what is a prime. What can be the concept of primary key? Let's say you are working for a bank and you have a customer data. You have the customer data. So customer data can be something like this. Let's say you have the name, you have his age, you have his address, you have his gender. Okay. And in your bank, there won't be one customer or two customers. There can be thousands or millions of customers, right? Let's say 1, 2, 3, and it goes on till, let's say 1,000, 10,000, whatever. So name, age, address, gender. Out of these 4 columns, can any column act as a primary key? Answer is no. Why? Because name can be same. Age can also be same. Address शायद same नहीं होगा, but putting address as a primary key is a very difficult task, right? Because address would not be 1 word or 2 words. It could be in sentences. And obviously gender cannot act as a primary key. But if you want to have a primary key, then you may need to have something else also. Let's say you call that thing as your customer ID. Very well said. Customer ID. So whenever the person opens the account, a customer ID, or you can say bank account number. Bank account number will never be same for any 2 people, or customer ID. So now this customer ID would be unique. It would be unique for everyone. Each person will have his own customer ID. Now this customer ID can act as your primary key. So while creating the table, you need to tell which column will act as a primary key. We will see when we'll do our coding. We'll see that how to create a thing as a primary key. So customer ID can act as a primary key. Okay, now let's say you have entered the name as A, age as let's say 25, address as Pune, gender as let's say male, customer ID as 1, 2, 3. Now the 10th person, his name is B, age is 27, address is Mumbai, person is female. But if you try to put the same ID 1, 2, 3, then this will give an error. Ye error dega. Why? Because this 1, 2, 3 has already been taken earlier. And you cannot have a same primary key for more than one person. Let's say another person C. His age is 28, address is Mumbai, gender is female, whatever, and you try to leave it blank. Then again, it will give an error. Why? Because you cannot leave it blank. You cannot have it null. It will definitely give an error. It will not allow you to enter. Okay. That data, so the entry for record number 11 will not be saved. It will just keep on giving you error. It will not allow you to move ahead. Okay. That is what. So I hope I have made clear all these 4 points. ये सारे points clear हो गए? Primary key के? So primary key is a column or a set of column. Let me try to create an example where I am having a set of column. Okay. कोई examples हो सकते where I can have a set of columns? Let me say employee number and country, name, age, gender. Okay. This is the data I have. So consider there is an organization there is a company which is operating from 3 different countries. It is operating from 3 different countries. एक तो सपोज कर लो इंडिया ही है, एक यूएस है, और चलो तुम लोग चले जाना बाद में यूके भी, ठीक है. सो इंडिया, यूएस एंड यूके. सो लेट्स से आई डिनोट इंडिया बाय 1, US by 2, and UK by 3. I am denoting this thing by 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So this organization is a very big organization. Okay. It's a very big organization. So for example, let's say employee number is 1, 2, 3. Country is India. Name is A, age is whatever, gender is male, whatever. Okay. Now, and I'm saying employee number plus country together would be acting as my primary key. Let's say I have defined them, and just if the question is how do we define them, just hold on to that question. You will see when we'll do the coding. Okay. So I have said primary employee number and country together will act as your primary key. So next time when I enter, give the same record 1, 2, 3, and if I say 2A 20M. Let's say there are 2 persons with the same name, same age, same gender, employee number also same, but now this time the country is different. So will it give any problem? Will it give any problem? No. Why? Because the combination is still unique. Combination is still not repeating. So 123.1 and 123.2, they are still not the same combination. But if you try to do something like this, so this will go fine. This will go fine. No problem. But if you try to do 123 and 1, and even if you change all the other things, then also it will try to give problem. Why? Because this 123.1 is conflicting with this one. So it will give a problem. It will give a problem. It will not allow you to make the entry. Again. Any doubt, any questions till this point, guys? No? See, basically I am saying employee number is one column, country is also a column. These 2 columns are together acting as a primary key. So see this entry, see the first entry. First entry was 123.1, and then let's say third entry was 123.1. So this will give a problem because the third entry and the first entry are exactly same. But if you compare the first and the second entry, do you notice the combination? Over here it is 123.1 and 123.2. So this will not give a problem. This will go fine. Because I am saying employee number plus country together acts as your primary key. So when both the values, employee and country, both are same for 2 entries, then only it will give a issue. Then only it will take it as a not a unique value. Okay. Now let's see our FK, foreign key. So foreign key is a column or set of columns in a table which refers to primary key of another table. See, when I was talking about primary key, I was talking about only one table. But foreign key के लिए तो 2 चीजें चाहिए ना. खुद ही सोचो, अगर तुम्हें कहीं फॉरेन जाना है तो तुम्हारा एक कंट्री इंडिया हो गया और दूसरा कंट्री वेयर एवर यू आर गोइंग, राइट? सो फॉर फॉरेन की नॉट इट वुड बी इन्वॉल्विंग 2 or more than 2 tables. 2 or more than 2 tables. So a foreign key is a column or a set of column in a table. Let's say table A, which refers to the primary key in another table. Let's say table B. ठीक है? So purposefully I have written A and B so that people are clear. I am talking about 2 tables. तो अलग-अलग tables. So primary key of one table may act as a foreign key in another table. ठीक है? How many foreign key can a table have? How many FK a table can have? बताओ कितने हो सकते हैं? 1. पिछली बार 1 था तो इस बार 1 होगा. मल्टीपल, यस. Who is this admin? Admin अपना नाम चेंज करो. Can I get your name? Like, so admin, I don't know who admin is, but ठीक है. Someone is giving me the right answers. I would like to know the name. Okay. Person is not answering. Okay. A table can have many foreign keys. See, basically, consider, let's say this is your table B. Table B. This is table A. This is table C. This is table D. Table D may have one primary key. Table D may also have one primary key. May also have one primary key. This primary key may also be referenced. This may be also be referenced. This may also. So table B may have 3 foreign keys. Okay, so you can have more than one primary key. But you can, sorry, you can have more than one foreign key. My mistake. You can have more than one foreign key, but you cannot have more than one primary key. Okay. So basically, foreign key, now this is the same concept. Foreign key is used to build relation among the tables. It is used to build the relation among the tables. It is used to build the relation among the tables. So for example, let's talk about a relational database a bit. What do we mean by relational database? Let's go back to this very same example. Let's say you have customer ID. You have your age. You have your name. You have your gender. Let's say you have your address. So what is this type of table known as? So if you open an account in a bank, do you think your data would be there only in one table? क्या एक ही टेबल से काम बन जाएगा? Can one table is enough to have all the data of the customer? No. This type of data is known as your demographics data. ये word तो सुना होगा ना? Demographics. So basically the individual data. But this data doesn't contains your. Does this data contains any information regarding your money? तुम्हारे पैसे की कोई information देता है? This is the first table created. कोई श्याम सिंह, तुम्हें क्यों वीडियो ऑन करना है? तुम्हारा चेहरा इतना प्यारा दिख ही रहा है? सबको दिखाना चाह रहे हो? ठीक है, दिखाओ. ठीक है. अच्छा. Now this is your demographics data, but this data in your bank, if you are opening a bank account, you would be having some monetary information. Now what could be that monetary information? सबसे पहली information क्या हो सकती है? Your account number, bank account number. Now whether your account is your savings account or type of your retail account, saving account, retail account, ठीक है? And then it can have your column as your daily balance. It can have a column as your monthly balance. Okay, and in your bank, you may not be having only one account. You may have your fixed deposit account, you may have your retail account or your current account, whatever, right? Now, so let's say customer ID was 111, age was whatever, let's say 27, name was A, gender was male, address was Pune, and the account number for this customer was something, let's say 1234. It was savings account, and daily balance was, let's say 100, monthly balance was, let's say 500, whatever. Now, how can I build the relation between these two things? If I want to create, let's say this was a data store. Now I want, for some requirement, you want this type of data. For your analysis, you want this type of data. Let's say name, age, and you want your, let's say, type, and you want your monthly balance. So can you get this data? क्या ऐसा डेटा हम क्रिएट कर सकते हैं? You want to see, is there any relationship between your age and the monthly balance? क्या जिनकी एज ज्यादा है उनका मंथली बैलेंस ज्यादा है और एज इज लेस देन मंथली बैलेंस इज लेस, whatever. So can I get this data? Answer is no. Why? Because you cannot build any relationship between this table A and this table B, because there is no common key. So if you want to get some information from table A and some information from table B, you need to build some kind of relation. But if I say, let's say this customer ID was acting as a primary key over here, and I also introduce this customer ID, let's say over here also. Now I can build the relationship between the tables. So using the same, so customer ID is a unique one. Or customer ID over here, let's say, even if you don't define the customer ID as a primary key, no need to define customer ID as a primary key, because let's say a person can have multiple accounts also. Over here, customer ID is, let's say, not a primary key. It is not a primary key. Okay. So let's say customer ID was 111. You can have 111. Let's say this customer was having more than one account. You can have more than one account. The another account was 1467. It was, let's say, current account. Balance was, let's say, 200 and monthly balance was 700 or whatever. Customer ID is again 111. Okay, so again you can build a difference between them. So in this table, probably you don't wish to have anything as a primary key. क्या तुम्हें लगता है कोई चीज primary key होनी चाहिए? Probably no. You may not have a primary key. Or if you want, you can make account as a primary key. If you want, you can make account as a primary key. If you think that no person can account number cannot repeat, even a same person cannot have a more than one account with the same account number, right? So you can make account number as a primary key. Yeah. So is the concept getting clear? What is primary key? What is kind of foreign key? And what is relational database? So using these are known as your relational database, because we can build relation using a concept of primary key and foreign key. Okay. Some water or पानी नहीं देंगे ना इसको. Okay. Let's say main components of SQL. Main components of SQL language. क्या क्या होते हैं? DDL, DML, DCL, and TCL. So DDL is your data definition language. Data definition, data manipulation, data control language. Yes, very well said. Data control language. And TCL, transaction control language. Perfectly right answer. Transaction की spelling क्या होगी? Transaction control language. DDL, DML, DCL, and TCL. Okay, these are the, try remembering it, because since you guys are freshers, people may ask theoretical questions, but let's try to see what does DDL, DML, DCL, and TCL actually means. So DDL is your data definition language. DDL, data definition language. So basically in DDL, you define the definition of the data. Examples क्या होंगे DDL के? Create और कोई? Okay. See, data definition language is used to define the data. Basically, in short, I will say what type of data would be coming. Okay, you are defining the definitions. What type of data would be coming, or what type of data can this table probably store? That is the thing you are talking about. So example of DDLs are create. So create is used to create what?
Data.
It is used to create two things. It can create database also and it can create tables also. ठीक है ना? जब तक database create नहीं करोगे तब तक how can you have a table inside it? It is used to create database and table. And then another example of DDL is your alter. And obviously we will see all these things when we write a queries. ये alter का नाम क्या होता है? What does the English meaning of alter is? Alter means change. You do some alteration. तुमने कपड़ा खरीदा, वो सही लेंथ पे नहीं था, you alter it. ठीक. Alter means you are changing it. You change it. That's the basic meaning of alter. But in SQL, the alter can be used to, it can be used to add, remove, rename, drop, and truncate. Add, remove, rename, drop, and truncate. Okay. So using your add, you can add a column. We will see that. You can add a column in where? In an existing table. A table is already existing and you want to add one more column or two more column or four more columns. You can add a column in an existing table. If you can add a column, probably you can remove a column also. Rename. Rename is used to rename the existing thing. Rename the name of existing table. A table was existing with one name. Now you want to change the name. ठीक है ना? जैसे आजकल शहरों के नाम चेंज हो रहे हैं. ठीक है? Drop is used to drop the existing database, or you can also drop the table. In short, you can say drop is nothing but kind of your delete. You are deleting it. Though delete is little different, but as of now, you can say it is delete. You delete something, right? What is truncate?
Duplicates.
Drop and truncate में क्या difference हो सकता है? और truncate में? Drop में पूरा delete हो जाता है, truncate में? Particular column. Use किया है ऐसे ही बोल लो? हैं? See, basically truncate. Let's say if you truncate a table, all the data. Let's say you are doing a full truncate. All the data would be removed. All the data would be removed, but table will exist.
Yeah.
But table will exist. So basically, a blank table would be existing. An empty table would be existing. If you drop the table, data is also gone and table is also gone. You have to create the table again. Okay? In truncate, you don't have to create the table again. Guys, give me a minute. Someone is continuously sending me some messages. से कुछ message आता हुआ दिख रहा है. आवाज आ रही है. Okay, no problem. I can manage this. अच्छा तो सीख रखा है तुम लोग ने, फिर क्यों तुम लोग को वापस एसक्यूएल सीखना था?
तो वो कुछ टॉपिक से वो समझने हैं
ना समझने के दो रीजन होता है।
या तो सर ने स्किप किए थे 2-3 टॉपिक।
कौन सा टॉपिक?
यूनियन, इंटरसेक्शन एंड जॉइंट्स।
जॉइंट्स स्किप किया?
स्किप नहीं, मतलब सीखा था लेकिन वो डायरेक्टली सीखा, वो एक्सप्लेन नहीं किया।
अच्छा चलो ठीक है, शिकायतें तो लोगों की बंद होती ही नहीं है।
सर एक की होगी तो बात अलग है।
अच्छा चलो, अच्छा कोई बात नहीं। नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट डीएमएल। DML is data manipulation language. And I hope people know that today there is no tea break. ठीक है ना? Data manipulation language. So what is data manipulation language used for? Can I have some answers please? लोगों को अच्छा से पता भी है। Data manipulation language is to manipulate the data or to retrieve the data or to add the data, whatever. So manipulation language, the first thing could be your select. 90% time of the time you are using your select. Then
data query language.
yeah.
Data query.
Select, then it can be insert or update, delete. Okay. Select, insert, update, delete. These can be part of your this thing. Select is used to select the data. Insert is used to insert. As of now, I'm moving little fast because all these things we will be seeing when we write the query. Update is used to update the existing data, and delete is used to delete the row. Delete the row, delete the data. But do you think update and delete are that easy? क्या update and delete कर सकते हैं हम लोग real life में? Real life as in when you are working in any organization? कर सकते हैं? हैं? तुम जो भी बोलो थोड़ा जोर से बोलो। अलाउड नहीं रहता, क्यों अलाउड नहीं रहता? प्राइवेसी। ठीक है, अच्छा व्हाट डू यू थिंक? अच्छा, let's say you are working as a data scientist in a company. What level of access do you want? High level of access to the data, medium level, low level. High level means you can access any data, any table, you can update, delete, modify, create new. Medium is you don't have access to all the data. Low means you have access to very few data. कैसा access चाहिए तुम्हें? Low, medium, high कैसा चाहिए? Low, medium, high. According to me सबसे least वाला चाहिए, और सबसे least वाला ही मिलेगा तुम्हें, ठीक है? High वाला क्यों नहीं चाहिए? So keep my words. If someone is giving you a high level of access, always refuse that option. And I'll tell you why. Because when you have a high level of access, chances of mistakes are high. Let's say you have access to delete, और धोखे से delete कर दिया तो सोचो क्या होगा? So if you don't have access to delete, you will never delete it also. ठीक है? Always take the least level of access depending upon your job. If you see, for example, let's say if you call a customer care of a bank, तो वो customer care वाला, he can see your account number, he can see your balance also. देखा है कभी? बट वो उसको अपडेट नहीं कर सकता, दैट एक्सेस नहीं होगा उसके पास, सिर्फ व्यू का एक्सेस आ रहा है उसको। सपोज करो उसके पास अपडेट का एक्सेस आ गया तो क्या होगा? बहुत प्रॉब्लम आ जाएगा, राइट? तो तुम्हारे अकाउंट से पैसे निकाल भी सकता है, डाल भी सकता है, ठीक है? यू कैन मैनिपुलेट इट। सो ऑलवेज ट्राई टू हैव अ लो लेवल ऑफ एक्सेस, ठीक है? मेरा देयर वाज एक मेरा फ्रेंड था, वो उसमें काम कर रहा था आरबीआई में, और बाय मिस्टेक उससे एक टेबल डिलीट हो गई थी। तो आरबीआई वालों ने क्या करा, उसके मैनेजर ने बोला अब तुम एक 15 दिन के लिए अपने गांव चले जाओ, बिकॉज ये तो गवर्नमेंट का डेटा है, डेटा गायब होना मतलब डेटा चोरी होना है। तो उन्होंने उसमें पुलिस की एफआईआर कर दी थी और लोग उसे ढूंढने आए थे, ठीक है? तो इस टाइप की चीजों से बचना, ठीक है? नेवर टेक अ वेरी हाई लेवल ऑफ एक्सेस, टेक द लीस्ट लेवल ऑफ एक्सेस, ठीक है? एंड एज अ डेटा साइंटिस्ट यू वुड ऑलवेज बी हैविंग द लीस्ट लेवल ऑफ एक्सेस, बिकॉज you don't need to have access to all the information, ठीक है? as a data as a person who wants to work on the data, you would be interested in the name of the person. तुम किसी के नेम में इंटरेस्टेड होगे? You are never interested in the name. Would you be interested in his bank account number? Answer is again no. You may be interested in his age, in his balance, in his monthly transaction, in its daily transaction, but why do you want to know his mobile number? मोबाइल नंबर पता चलेगा तुमसे डायरेक्टली कांटेक्ट करने लगे हो, ठीक है ना? सो यू डोंट वांट एक्सेस टू ईच एंड एवरीथिंग, यू ओनली वांट एक्सेस टू द रिक्वायर्ड डेटा, ठीक है? नाउ लेट्स मूव अहेड. सो दिस वाज जस्ट ऑन द साइडलाइंस. नाउ डेटा कंट्रोल लैंग्वेज. व्हाट इज डीसीएल? डेटा कंट्रोल लैंग्वेज. इसमें दो कौन सी कमांड होती है? So basically, I have built the background for data control language, that is your grant and revoke. So grant is used to give, it is used to give desired level of access. Required level of access. See, not everyone needs the access, the same level of access. The person who is working at the customer care department, he only needs to look into the some specific data. The person who is working in some another department, the person who is working directly in the branch, he needs to look at some different type of data, right? Different level of access. Revoke. What is revoke? It is used to revoke. Revoke means to take back. It is used to revoke, or you can say to take back the access given to the user, whoever is using that thing. So basically using grant and revoke. Using grant and revoke, admin can control the level of rights given to user. What type of rights each user can have? Rights are in privilege. ठीक है, उसके क्या क्या rights होंगे? Which all table he can see, which all columns he can see. I'll not say columns. He can see if you have access to a table, you will be able to see all the columns if columns are not masked. ठीक है. What level of access using grant and revoke? And basically, when you go for if you are working for any database team, the first thing they will teach you this thing only, the level of access. TCL, transaction control language. 99.99% of the time you will never be using TCL, transaction control language. It is for your commit, and the example of this are commit and rollback. Commit and rollback. Theoretically, yaad rakh lo, commit and rollback. What is commit? Commit is used to save the changes. Save the changes made by insert, delete, and update. So insert, delete, and update are the commands. The changes made by insert, delete, and update are used to, using your commit, you can save the changes made by insert, delete, and update commands. Rollback. Rollback किसलिए होता है? Retrieve. Retrieve what? डिलीट किया तो वापस ला सकते हैं, अगर कमिट कर दिया तभी भी। फिर so basically rollback allows us to, in a way what you have said is right only, allows us to undo, थोड़ा writing अच्छी लगती है, allows us to undo any changes we have made. Using rollback, we go to the last committed state. We go back to the last committed state. Let's say you have done a commit. For example, you have done a commit at 10, commit at let's say 9 a.m. And after 9 a.m. you have done your insert, you have delete and update and whatever. So if you do a rollback, at let's say 9:30, you will go back to your 9 a.m. जो भी changes किए होंगे सब हट जाएंगे. That is what your rollback is. So normally we don't use commit and rollback because you will never have access to update the real-time data. You would always be updating the data in your own temporary tables. ठीक है? Updating a data is a very big thing. तुम्हें लग रहा होगा बहुत simple चीज है. Updating a real data is a very big thing. ठीक है? You just can't update the real-time data. उसके लिए बहुत सारा permission लगेगा. And obviously you will never be having the access to update it. Even if you want to update it, so what you will do is, let's say you are saying, I want to update this existing table. And this table was having, let's say 1 million records. You want to add some 10 more records over here. So you just cannot update this real production table. तुम क्या करोगे? There would be a procedure in your company. तुम एक form fill करोगे. You will fill a form. That form you will send it to your manager. Let's say you are working in a data science team. Data science team वाले को तो वैसे भी कभी update नहीं करना होगा. But let's say you are working for any other team, and this manager will send the mail to the database manager. Database manager तो update करने वाला नहीं है. वो किसको भेजेगा? अपने junior को भेज देगा. भाई इसको जा देख लो. ठीक है? अब वो suppose करो you are that junior. Junior as in let's say you are team lead or whatever. तो टीम लीड क्या जाता है? टीम लीड अपने सीनियर सॉफ्टवेयर वाले को भेज देगा कि हाँ देख लेना जरा. अब तुम क्या करोगे? You will say no, I can update this database, but every day we do not do the updation. हम लोग हर दिन अपडेट नहीं करते. We update only on Fridays. सबका एक शेड्यूल रहता है. तुमने रिक्वेस्ट भेजा था मंडे को, अब फ्राइडे तक तो वैसे ही वेट करोगे. ठीक है? अगर सारा अप्रूवल आ गया, फिर अप्रूवल आने के बाद वो तुम्हें अपडेट करेगा कि हाँ भाई अपडेट हो गया, आप देखो. और नॉर्मली अगर वो बदमाशी करेगा तो खैर प्रोडक्शन टेबल में तो बदमाशी नहीं करेगा, बट वो कैसे करते हैं मैं तुम्हें एक एग्जांपल बताता हूँ. लेट्स से आई वांट अ डेटा, मुझे एक डेटा चाहिए वेयर आई वांट समथिंग, सम इंफॉर्मेशन. लेट्स से आई वांट monthly balance also. And this is a real example. Let's say I want monthly balance and I do not have access to see the monthly balance. So what I'll do, I'll send a request. I'll send a mail to a database team that I want to see the monthly balance of the people who have opened the account in last few months. I want to do some analysis. Okay, monthly balance, and let's say I want to see the daily balance also. So वो request जाएगा and he says I run the job only on let's say Friday. तो Friday तक तुम वेट करोगे. फिर उसके बाद क्या करेगा? He will run the job. But वो जानबूझ के इस बार बदमाशी कर देगा because he is not updating the production table. He is getting you the table data in temporary table. तो वो तुम्हें monthly balance दे देगा और फिर तुम्हें क्वार्टरली बैलेंस दे देगा जानबूझ के. डेली बैलेंस हटा देगा क्योंकि एक बार तुमने उससे खराब तरीके से बात की थी. ठीक है, तो वो तुम्हारा क्वार्टरली बैलेंस हटा देगा. फिर तुम उसके पास दौड़ते दौड़ते जाओगे, यार मेरे को डेली वाला चाहिए था, तुमने क्वार्टरली दिया. तो बोलेगा अच्छा ठीक है कोई बात नहीं, फिर से एक फॉर्म रिक्वेस्ट रेज करो. तो फिर चलता रहेगा. तो ये डेटा आने में सपोज करो तुम्हें लग जाएंगे 3 हफ्ते. उसके बाद एनालिसिस चालू होगा. ठीक है. सो एनीवे, commit and roll back. If you are working for database team, you would be using that. Otherwise, you will never be using it in your real life. ठीक है. Only admins are probably using it. ठीक है. चलो, shall we write some queries? छोटे छोटे queries कुछ लिखे. Okay. Open your MySQL. Okay. So some people might be knowing this thing, some people are not, may not be. So I'll start from very basic. Okay. So you can go over here, and if you say new query tab, so either you can use the shortcut, that is your Control T. But if you click on the new query tab, can you notice a new window opens, SQL file 7, right? So we will do our coding over here. Over here, you can see that I have in my, you would be seeing number of databases, but probably in your, it would be kind of empty if we are using for the first time. Okay. So first of all, how to create a database. How to create a database. Acha, do people know the meaning of this symbol hash? Comment. Sabko pata hai? Anyone who doesn't know? This is known as comment. So when you put a comment, anything on the right hand side of the comment would be ignored by the compiler. You can write anything. Okay? It will not be taken as a part of the syntax. Okay? You will not get any error. How to create a database. So how can we create a database? So create database, and then you can have database name. So क्या database name ले लें? तुम्हारा बैच का नाम क्या है? PGA 32 है? अच्छा. Let's say create database PGA 32. After every command, whenever, so this is one command, make sure that you put the colon. Make sure you put the colon. So colon will indicate the end of your query. So create database PGA 32. Below, can you notice at the end, can you notice there is a green tick mark? So green tick mark indicates that your query has been executed successfully. And it says one row affected, and it also gives you the time, 0.016 second it has taken. Now, I have created a database PGA32. When I ran this line, did I got any error? Koi error aaya tha mujhe? No. But if I try to run it next time, it will give me an error. And what is the error message? It says, can you read the error message? Cannot create database PGA32, database exists. Since your database is already existing, you cannot create it next time. But can I delete this database or drop this database? So drop database and you give database name. Now this database can be, I am running this line and this database will get dropped. I did not got any error when I was running the line number 3. But if I run this line again, I will get an error. Why? Because you are trying to drop a database which does not exist. You are trying to delete a thing which does not exist. So it cannot delete that or it cannot drop that. So it is obviously going to give you an error. And the error message is quite predominant. It is self-explanatory. Cannot drop database at database does not exist. Okay, so I'm stopping over here for a minute. I can see some people are still doing coding. Okay, take your time. Please comfort late rehna. If you have any doubt, let me know, because soon we will enter into a complicated thing. Abhi to sab kuch simple hai. We will write nested queries. One query inside another query will make it very complicated. जब तुम्हारे दिमाग में दर्द होगा तब मुझे लगेगा कि तुमने कुछ सीख लिया है. ठीक है, वो मेरा एम. कुछ को जल्दी होगा, कुछ को देर होगा, कुछ को शायद अभी हो रहा हो, कुछ लोग वेट कर रहे होंगे टी ब्रेक का. ठीक है, आज तो वैसे दर्द नहीं होगा, आज तो सिंपल है. Can you move ahead? What about you? Are you able to connect? Okay. Shall we move ahead? Okay. Now, let me again run this. So for example, let's do one thing. So I have dropped the database. Now, what is the significance of this colon? Everyone, please have a look at the line number 2. So I'm saying create database PGA32. If I run this line, the query is executed successfully. I do not get any error. But do you notice at line number 3, it is putting a question mark in red? It means it is saying there is some problem in this line. Actually, problem is not in this line. Problem is coming because you haven't put the colon above. So if you don't put colon above, you are likely to get a error downwards. Because if you don't put the colon, it is considering this as one query. It is considering as your one query. Actually, they are not one query, but they are two separate query. So whenever you are ending the query, it is a healthy practice to mark as colon. Okay? Otherwise, you will get problem in the next query. Us query to chali jayegi se, but the next will have the issues. Okay? So database create ho gaya. What is the another name of database? Another name of database is schema. So if I say create, and instead of database, if I say schema, let's say SCHE, let's say PGA 33. Okay, PGA 33. And let's run it. Same thing. So basically line number 2 and line number 4 are same. Either you say database or you say schema, it is one and the same thing. So when in industry, people may say schema. So schema is nothing but database only. So you can add a comment over here for your later on. Schema and DB are one and the same, are same. Either you say schema or you say database. Doesn't matter.
Professor?
Yeah, tell me.
So I can't run any query. It's showing black and white. It's not letting me run a query.
Black and white?
Yeah, so you know the yellow lightning sign you have to run it?
Yellow lightning sign. You are saying this one?
Yes, that's coming black and white. I'm not allowed to use it.
That is black and white. Okay. Over here, no object selected. What is written over here? What is written over here?
It's empty, Professor.
Eh?
It's empty. Nothing's written.
Nothing is written. Okay. Administration. Nothing is written. See, basically, the issue is you are not able to connect to your database. You are not live in session. Okay. Can you see this thing? Object info session. Can you tell me what is written in the session?
It's completely blank.
It means connection is not proper. So basically, while doing the installation, there was one password would have been generated. Have you saved the password? Are you using the same password? Object info. Are you getting this information?
No, sir.
So it means connection is not proper. You should get this. बाकी लोगों को एक connection detail आ रहा है? Connection detail आ रहा है ना? If you are not generating the connection detail, it means it is not proper. Your installation has not gone fine. So while opening your SQL, see, while opening your SQL, let me do one. So see, if I say MySQL and I go over there, then it says me local instance. Click on your local instance. What does it ask for you? कौन था वो जो पूछ रहा था questions? Dhruv.
Yes, Professor, I'm doing it.
So when you click on this, is it asking for a password? If it is asking for a password, give the proper password. If you don't remember the password, then nothing can be done.
It's not asking for a password. It's blank over there.
It's blank. You are not getting this type of page. Welcome to MySQL Workbench.
I am, but under MySQL connections, there's nothing there.
So you are not able to see this local instance, MySQL root. ऐसा कुछ नहीं दिख रहा है?
No, I'm not getting to see.
तुम्हें दिखता है? दिखता है ना? हाँ. Now you are, since you are not getting this local instance root and all these things, it means connection is not built. So there is a problem in your installation. Installation issue है वो.
Okay.
ठीक है? You should get this thing. So while installation, it at one stage it will ask you to put one password. Try remembering that password and save that password.
Okay.
ठीक है ना? जो क्लास लाइट सिंपल अच्छी नहीं लगती? बेचारी का लैपटॉप टूट गया, तुम लोग इसमें हंस रहे हो, अच्छी बात है। अच्छा चलो, कैन वी मूव अहेड? लेट्स क्रिएट अ टेबल। ठीक है, लेट्स क्रिएट अ टेबल। ओके, so for example guys, now what I have done, as of now I have created two databases. I have created 32 also, and let's say I have created 33 also. So you may have many databases, but if you are trying to create a table, then you need to tell in which database you want to create. So basically I will say, let's say use PGA32. So if I say use PGA32, this database would be getting attached. Now whatever I do would be done in this PGA32 only. So PGA32 is the name of the database, and let me say I want to create a table. Practice चालू कर देते हैं. So for creating the table, I will say create table and give the name. One more thing, those who are absolutely new to SQL, guys, do you notice? Please 2 minute बात नहीं करो. When I say create database and I give the name of a database, so do you notice create, the color of create, the color of database, and the color of PGA32, they are different. Create database is coming in blue and 32 is coming in your black. Why? Because create database is a syntax. These words, create, word create, and word database, they have a specific meaning to the software. They are kind of your keywords. They have some specific meaning. So if you try to do something like this, probably you are running into a problem. So if you say create schema or create schema, and you say that my name of the schema should also be schema, तो problem आ जाएगा. If you are saying that I want to create a table whose name should be schema, then do you notice it is giving an error? Why? Because schema, you cannot use schema, this word schema, for any other purpose. It has a specific meaning in the SQL. ठीक है ना? So whichever words are coming in blue, they have keywords, they have a specific meaning to the software, and which are coming in black, they are the variables used by the person. So let's say create table. Table name क्या चाहिए? Let's say I want to create, let's say, sales data. So create table name I have given as sales. Now, if table is there, then there should be some columns also inside the table. If table is there, there should be some tables inside, some columns inside the table. So I'll say create table name sales, and what columns do I want? Let me say I want purchase ID. I want purchase ID as integer. And I'm saying not null and primary key. Not null primary key. Then I'm saying, let's say date of sale. यहाँ पे क्या प्रॉब्लम दे रहा है? Customer ID integer, and let me say कुछ भी डाल दो, item code, product code, varchar, and let me say 10. That's it. Can someone send me the SQL installation guide PPT? Send नहीं किया था? वापस सेंड कर दो. वो देखो चैट पे मांग रहा है? तो क्या भेजा था? कुछ अलग था? क्या था? इंस्टॉलेशन गाइड नहीं था तो क्या था? अच्छा, one second. ओके, अभी मैंने एक ईमेल सेंड किया, प्लीज इसको फॉरवर्ड करो. अच्छा, okay guys, everyone please have a look. एक second please बात नहीं करो. So let me try to explain what is happening from line number 7 or line number 8 till line number 13. Okay, So basically from line number 8 till line number 13, I'm trying to create a table. So don't do any coding. Those who are doing it for the first time, please try understanding the concept. So for creating the table, think logically and you will never have any problem. For creating a table, what all information do we want? क्या information हमें चाहिए? I need to give the name of the table. I need to give the name of the table. I need to give the name of the columns. I need to give the data type of the columns. I need to give the data types of the column, whether that column will take only numeric value or varchar or it is a date column or whatever. So basically create table. Create is a command. Table is again, name of the table becomes my sales. Purchase ID is the name of my column. And purchase ID will have only integer values. And I am saying not null primary key. Even if you don't give not null, it is still okay. Not null means it cannot have the null values. And purchase ID would be acting as your primary key. Till the time you tell which column would be primary key, software cannot understand. Then again, date of sale. Do you notice it is marked in black? So date of sale. अगर मैंने वो चीज दे दी थी ना तो मैं previous PPT over there you can go and see the data types also. There is one. I think I would have created one this thing for data types also. So date of sale. It is your date, not null. Customer ID is again the name of your column, and that column will contain only integer values. So if you try to pass non-integer values, it will give an error. Item code. Item code is again the name of your column, and that column can take varchar. It can take numbers also, and it can take characters also. It can take 10 means the length is 10. It cannot take more than 10 letters. So 10 means, let's say, if I am giving something like this, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, it is still fine. If I give A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So already 10, I have already given the 10. Now if I try to give 11, it will give me an error. So it's this 10 means the maximum length. Maximum length it can have. Now tell me guys, any doubt, any question? नहीं? कोई फर्क नहीं, इंटीजर को स्मॉल की बजाय कैपिटल या स्मॉल बना दो. It is not case sensitive. Python case sensitive है, ये case sensitive नहीं. But कुछ SQL case sensitive हो जाता है. For example, Athena is case sensitive. Athena में जब query लिखोगे तो case sensitive है. Okay, let's say, so I am getting one question, क्या primary key के लिए syntax लिखना पड़ेगा? Answer is yes. Let's say I do not give this thing. देखा तुमने, मैंने कुछ हटा दिया. If I remove this thing, then how would the SQL know which column is to be a primary key? उसको कैसे पता चलेगा? बताओ. It cannot come to know. So whichever column you want to make a primary key, put it as a primary key. Later on, we will see how to make more than one column as a primary key. Okay? So table has been created. Select the star from sales. So do you notice it shows you purchase ID, date of sale, customer ID, item code. A table has been created, but at this point, the table is still empty. So you cannot see any data inside the table. Okay. What is this star? Star is used to select all rows and all columns from the table. So star means you select everything. ये तो सबसे बेसिक कमांड है वैसे. सबसे पहली चीज शायद बच्चा यही सीखता है. ठीक है. So I'll go a little slow because I can see some faces which are struggling. Yeah. So those who have already covered in some class, guys, have some patience, है ना? Because मैं किसी को पीछे छोड़ के तो नहीं जा सकता. मैं लोगों के चेहरे देख के बता सकता हूँ किसको कितना समझ में आ रहा है, इसीलिए मैंने लोगों के टेक्स्ट को विजिट किया बिकॉज़ आई कैन सी सम ओके। किस किसने पहले डेटा ये एसक्यूएल थोड़ा सा भी कर रहा है पहले, सब लोग अपनी प्लेस शिफ्ट कर लो, ठीक है। तुम दोनों लोग आगे आ जाओ, एक जन उधर चले जाओ। बड़ी कल्चर डाल देता हूं मैं। किस किसने पहले करा हुआ है? तुमने करा हुआ है? किसने पहले करा हुआ है? ठीक है, देन यू बी देयर ओनली, यू हेल्प हर आउट। व्हाट अबाउट यू? नहीं किया है तो किसने किया? तुम आगे आके बैठो सो दैट आई कैन लुक एट योर सिस्टम वेरी फास्ट। और जो कौन बिल्कुल नया है, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली न्यू, तुम उसके पास जाके बैठो, जाओ हेल्प हिम आउट, ठीक है। कुछ कभी कभी कैसा होता है, बहुत छोटी चीज शायद मेरे से पूछने में तुम्हें टाइम लग रहा है, बट बाजू वाले से शायद इजीली पूछा जा सकता है। बाजू वाले को आता है तभी भी तुम जाके बैठो क्योंकि तुम इधर बहुत बातें कर रहे हो, ठीक है। जाओ उधर बैठो। और कौन है जो बिल्कुल नया है? तुम बिल्कुल नए हो, तुम एक काम करो, तुम यहाँ आके बैठो, तुम उधर चले जाओ। सब चेंज कर दो, सबकी कंफर्ट पोजीशन हटा देता हूँ, सब लोग बहुत आराम से बैठे हुए हैं। और कौन नया है? तुम नए हो बिल्कुल। बाजू वाला, बाजू वाला है, सही है, हेल्प कर रहे हो, ठीक है, तुम वहीं बैठो। हैं? तुम दोनों नए हो, तुम दोनों नए हो, तब तो फिर तो एक को हटना ही पड़ेगा, कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं है। तुम एक काम करो, तुम्हें थोड़ा सा आता है ना, गो देयर। हाँ, नॉलेज बांटने से बढ़ती है, ठीक है। जाओ उसके पास बैठो। माई एम इज पीपल शुड लर्न एवरीथिंग, उसके लिए जो भी करना पड़ेगा करना पड़ेगा। एंड दिस इज ओनली टिल एसक्यूएल, उसके बाद फिर ठीक है, जब थ्योरी वरी चालू करेंगे तो कोई कहीं भी बैठे। और कौन है जो जिसको लग रहा है कि वो अकेला रह गया है? व्हाट अबाउट यू? हाँ, तुम्हें आता है पहले से पक्का? ठीक है, चलो। सो ध्रुव इज सेइंग माय ईमेल आईडी इज दिस। किसी ने ध्रुव को भेजा एसक्यूएल?
आपने किसको भेजा?
नहीं, अभी आज मैंने वापस ईमेल भेजा, तुम दोनों को वापस कराए। हाँ सर, कैन यू प्लीज हेल्प मी विद कनेक्शन प्रॉब्लम? सो सौरभ, व्हाट इज द कनेक्शन प्रॉब्लम यू आर हैविंग? एंड फ्रॉम हियर ऑनवर्ड सब लोग ऐसी पोजीशन में बैठो फॉर टिल द टाइम एसक्यूएल इज गोइंग। ध्रुव, व्हाट इज द कनेक्शन प्रॉब्लम? सी, connection problem, if you are not putting the right password, then I cannot do anything. If you are putting the password and after password it is not getting you connected, then it means the password is not right. You need to uninstall and again install it. So there is one person in the class also, that person is also facing the same problem. WhatsApp group पे share कर दो. See, Saurabh, this connection problem cannot be solved on the WhatsApp group. ठीक है? Basically, when you are giving the password and if it is giving you the error, it means your password you are entering is not correct. Put the correct password. Otherwise, no one can do anything. Installation guide तो भेज दो. Have you sent it on the WhatsApp group? Okay. अब ना बड़ा मुश्किल हो रहा है, कुछ लोगों का इंस्टॉलेशन सही नहीं गया है।
तो कमांड लाइन में भी मतलब इजी जाएगा।
रीसेट पासवर्ड रीसेट करने के लिए भी तो कनेक्ट होना चाहिए ना, अगर क्वेरी लिखनी तो कनेक्ट होना चाहिए ना। करो, कहां से करोगे? मुझे नहीं पता। I did not get the password. You don't get the password, you put the password, right? You have put, while doing the installation, it would have asked you to put the password. At that time, you have given some password, which you are not able to remember now. Okay? Ask anyone, everyone is giving a password. Okay? That is an individual password. If possible, if you can visit to the class, come to the class for a few days, at least for SQL. Was you visiting the class earlier? Yeah, yeah, offline. So Saurabh, yeah, I am suggesting you come to the class. Okay? So if you are an offline candidate, it is highly advisable you come to the class. Don't join online. Okay? अगर तुम ऑफ क्लास में होते, then I could have seen your laptop and I could have given you the proper suggestion. ठीक है? So those who are offline, please come offline. Don't try to be lazy. Only lazy people are attending from online and in Pune. ठीक है? Okay, chalo, let's move ahead. Those who are having installation problem, highly recommended, please solve it. Or because beyond the point I am helpless. If you are putting a wrong password, I can't do anything with it. Okay? So select star from the sales. So what is select? Select is used to retrieve the information. It is used to get that information as in your rows, columns from table. ठीक है ना? It is very simple thing. Obviously, you would be remembering this thing. Star means everything. Star implies everything. You want to select everything. So for example, if I say select, let's say I don't want to select all the columns. If I say select only purchase underscore ID, and if I say customer underscore ID from table. So now I would be seeing only these two columns. I would not be seeing all the columns. If you give a star, it will select everything. If you give the name of the columns, it will select only those columns. Later on, when we fill the data inside it, we will use the limit function also. But that is little later on, once we fill the data. Okay? I would be going very slow today. Okay? So again, I'm repeating, star is to select everything. Give the name of the columns if you want to select only those many columns. भरत एक चाय ला दे बस एक बॉटल रखो मेरे को जल्दी जाना है Okay. Okay. So to see the inform, please थोड़ा बातें कम करो, खूब सारी बातें करो, लेकिन मेरे तक आवाज नहीं है, ठीक है ना? खूब करो, मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, मेरे तक आवाज नहीं है, बस. Describe sales. So see the information. Let's see what this will give you. Okay. So when I said describe as the English name suggests, it will give you the description, and I'm saying sales. So what is sales? Sales is the name of your table. It will give you the description about that table. So it tells you what all columns are there and what is the type of that column. So do you notice I have made the purchase ID as primary key? मैंने purchase ID को primary key दिया था, and that is why do you notice PRI written over here, right? PRI written over here. Date of sale was having the date format, so you are having date format. Customer ID I have given as integer, so it is telling you the integer. So if you are interested only about the information and not about the data inside the table, give your describe function. You know, describe the table. And again, I'm saying one more thing, guys. All those who have joined as an offline candidate, please visit offline. Okay, class mein aao, you will learn more. And anyway, I'm telling this to Utkarsha. Probably she will connect to all those who are not there in the class. ठीक है ना? So उसको एक email या कुछ phone करेगी वो, ठीक है? So be ready. Okay. Guys, let's go back to this query. From line number 8 to line number 13, I was creating one table. Please wait a second. From line number 8 to line number 13, I was creating one table. What was the name of my table? Name of my table was sales, right? How did I create a primary key? For creating the primary key, in front of that column, I have written the primary key. उसी के सामने primary key लिख दिया, right? Another way to create a primary key is you can say something like this. So again, I am trying to create the same table, but if I try to create the same table, it will give me an error. Why? Because this table already exists. So let me first drop that table. Drop table, and let me say sales. Okay, drop table sales. I'll drop this table. Now I want to create a primary key. Let me not null and let me say primary key. यहाँ से हटा देते हैं. ठीक है? Then what I can do is I can add a primary key at the end. I can say primary key and I can give the name of the column. ऐसे भी दे सकते हैं. Primary key, name of the column. I think I should add a comma over here. ठीक है? So basically, again, let's do a comparison. So compare this code and compare this code. They are same. Only thing is over there I have given the primary key in front of the same column, and over here I am giving primary key, and in bracket I am telling which column will act as a primary key. कौन सा column primary key जैसा act करेगा. So again you run it and it goes fine. ठीक है, please run करो. Done. Great, हो रहा. Okay. So let me create this output console. Okay. So I know there are many people who have done SQL over there. Just have some patience because many are totally fresh. And I'll keep on taking small examples, and then later on I'll keep on complicating it. So let's create a table where primary key consists of more than one column. As of now, I have created a table where primary key was consisting only of one column. ठीक है. And let me say, if I say create, so for creating the table, I'll say create table, table name. Table name क्या ले लें? Let's say क्या ले table name ले लें? Let's say table name, let's say employee. Table name employee. ठीक है. Then employee name. Or instead of employee name, let me just give name. इतना बड़ा बड़ा नाम क्यों लेना? Name, varchar. सबसे बड़ा नाम कितना हो सकता है? 20 अल्फाबेट्स और लेट्स से 30 व्हाटएवर. कोई साउथ इंडियन नेम बड़ा भी हो सकता है, ऐसी बात नहीं है. ठीक है. नेम varchar. ठीक है. And let me say age int. Then address, varchar, anything. 50 दे दो चलो. Name and let me say ID, integer. And let me just take an example. So my aim is to show, and if I say primary key, let me say primary key is name comma ID. ठीक है. Because name not syntax. ठीक है. Okay, so this time employee number and ID, they together act as your primary key. So I hope people can guess one thing, that there is no limitation. I can just keep on adding the columns. ठीक है ना? तुम्हें जितने चाहिए उतने columns ऐड कर सकते हो. ठीक है. You just say comma comma comma. So name and ID, employee name and ID together are acting as a primary key. Take your time. Try running it. Okay, so if we run our describe function over here, if we run our describe function on employee, then you can notice, guys, everyone, एक second please. Can you notice employee number and ID? For both of them, you are getting PRI and PRI. It means they together are acting as your primary key. ठीक है? Employee number and ID both are acting as your primary key. सबको क्लियर हो गया? वैसे तो मैंने बताया। Describe employee. Okay. So again, let me run it. Those who have missed it. So it gives you in front of employee name, you are also getting primary key. In front of ID also you are getting primary key. ठीक है ना? Thank you, Bharat. एक पेन देना। बिल्कुल। So is ऋतुजा कौन है? और प्रथमेश? ऋतुजा प्रथमेश तो ठीक है। वेदांत तो है नहीं। श्रेयस कौन है? I'm just trying to remember the names. सबके नाम याद नहीं होते मुझे। शुभम, गौरव, गौरव है ठीक है। और श्याम सिंह ये कौन है? अच्छा तुम हो। कल्पेश ठीक है। प्रणव, प्रणव हाँ तुम प्रणव हो। राहुल पाटिल अच्छा। लौकिक, सुशांत, वैष्णवी युवा वैष्णवी। और कौन है? नीचे कौन है? भावेश सोलंकी। कौन है भावेश? रूपेश, भूपेश ओके हाँ हाँ भूपेश। एंड पाटिल श्रद्धा, यू आर पाटिल श्रद्धा। फिर नीचे के क्या नाम? अच्छा नीचे के नाम तो वो एब्सेंट है तो आने चाहिए थे ना। ठीक okay, can we move ahead? Okay, let's move ahead. So adding the primary key after table has been created. Let's say table was already there and now you want to later on you want to add a primary key. Okay, adding a primary key after table has been created. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's create another table. Or what we can do is let's drop this table. Drop employee. ठीक है ना? Drop employee or I'll not say drop employee, but drop table name. ठीक है? Drop table name. So this table is getting dropped. Now what I'll do is let's copy this command, or you can directly execute it over there, and let's remove this part. Let's remove this part. So I'll remove this comma. I'll put it over here. So, एक second, please सब लोग देखना. Then do your coding. Those who are new. ठीक है? So I have dropped the table. Then I'm trying to create the new table. This table will not have the primary key. And if you don't trust me, then you can run your describe अगर फिर भी विश्वास नहीं है, so describe EMP. So when I run this describe EMP, you will notice PRI doesn't appear for any of them. It means primary key is not there. Itna please karo, and then let's try to see how to add a primary key to the existing table. Primary key to the existing table. So basically I'm building the background, and then I will start inserting the data and start retrieving or playing with the data. Done? What about you? Okay. Okay. Up. One second. Now, basically, remember your DDL, DML kind of thing. So this would be part of DDL or DML. ये जो हम लोग करने जा रहे हैं. I am going to alter the table. DML. Okay. So basically, a table is already there, and I want to manipulate that table, right? Okay. So I want to alter that table. So I'll say alter table, and I will give the table name. So what is the name of my table? Name of my table is employee. So using, but I need to tell what thing I need to do. As of now, I have refreshed the table, but table se karna kya hai? So that information I need to pass. So I will say alter table, table name, and I'll say add constraint. Okay. Later on, we will see what are some constraint. One of the constraint is your primary key. Okay. Add constraint. What is your constraint? Let's say you want to make your ID as a primary key. Constraint, I'll give ID. ID is the name of your column. Constraint ID, and then I'll say primary key. And give ID, I think once again. And I think कितना काफी होती है? Multiple primary key defined. One second. Let me describe this thing. So, okay, ID is already a primary key. Huh? Let me do one thing. Let me first drop this table. Then I'll create this thing. Then let me describe this thing. So no primary key. No. So I think by mistake I have ran it twice. By mistake I have ran it twice. Okay. So alter table, employee, add constraint, and what is the constraint? Primary key, and you add it as a. And now when you run this describe function, you will see a primary key is acting. ID is coming as your primary key. No, this is another way to add a primary key, but it is not a very preferred way. But let's say you have already created a database. You have already created a table. Then few rows are also, you have already inserted a data. And later on, you realize that one of the column can act as a primary key, and you want to make that primary key. Then it should be used. Okay? But if you want, you can use this way also. Constraint. Okay. Can we talk about constraint? A good question this time. Constraint क्या होता है? Or how many different types of constraints can be possible? Primary key is one constraint. Unique is another constraint. कभी ऐसा देखा that now this column can take only, let's say the column is gender, it can take only male and female. It cannot take any other thing. Right? Excel में भी देखा हो ना drop down से. Remember when you are filling a form, there would be a drop down. You cannot select. So let's say education, either it is 10th, 12th, graduation or post graduation. You cannot take any other fifth value. So that is also one constraint. Okay, now, so basically all these things, if I talk about constraint, let me say, so what is the English meaning of constraint? Can I say constraint means limitations? In a way, you are putting some limitations, right? So one of the example of the constraint is your primary key. Remember, there are certain conditions with primary key. Primary key cannot be null. It cannot be. It is not null. It cannot have your duplicate values, right? All these are your constraints. Same thing you would be having with your unique key. Unique key again cannot have your duplicate values. And I think similar one is kind of your enum also is there. Enum suna hai? Another type of constraint can be your enum. Enum तो very basic thing है. दोनों ने SQL पढ़ी होगी, आना चाहिए. So let's say enum. Now let me take an example. Suppose you are ordering a pizza, and अगर तुम किसी उस वेबसाइट पे जाओगे, it will give you an option of the size. Now size can be either medium, large or small. So out of only these three options, you can select one option. So can I say it is also kind of limitation? It is also a kind of constraint. And many places you would be seeing this thing. These type of constraints would be coming. So whether it is your enum, whether it is your unique key, primary key, it is like your constraint. So I am saying primary key is also an example of constraint. Constraint as in your limitations. It cannot have any value, but values are limitation. There is some limitation to the value which you enter over there. Okay. आगे बढ़े. Okay. Now let's come over here. See, तुम लोग जो मरमर कर रहे हो मुझे सुनाई पड़ रहा है. उसके दो आंसर है टी ब्रेक का. एक तो मैंने अपनी चाय पी लिया, पहला आंसर. ठीक है. दूसरा क्या है कि थोड़ी देर में क्लास फिनिश कर देंगे, फिर तुम लोग आराम से लंच ब्रेक लेना. ठीक है. अभी के लिए थोड़े पढ़ाई कर लो. आई होप आई हैव आंसर्ड योर क्वेश्चन. ठीक है. ठीक. यूजिंग द ऑल्टर we can add a primary key, so we can also remove the primary key constraint. ठीक है. अगर alter से I can add a primary key constraint, then using the alter I can create the primary key constraint also. So एक सेकंड सब लोग प्लीज यहाँ पे देखो. So as of now when I run the describe function, do you notice ID is acting as your primary key? ID is acting. Can we remove it? So कैसे remove कर सकते हैं जिन्होंने already करा हुआ है? So again I will use the almost similar thing. I will say alter table name. Now what should I do? Drop. You can just say sorry. अच्छा उसने मैंने तो इतना बड़ा वर्ड लिखा भी नहीं था. अच्छा उसने ड्रॉप डाउन से सिलेक्टेड होगा. ऑल्टर टेबल एम्प्लॉय एंड ड्रॉप प्राइमरी की. There is only one primary key, so you need not pass the name of the primary key. वो automatically समझ जाएगा किसको refer कर रहा है. Now let's run this thing. It runs successfully, and again, if I run the describe function, you notice PRI has vanished. Okay? So using alter, if you can add, then you can remove also. Okay, please practice. ठीक है. Okay, so using alter table, we can drop our primary key also. ठीक है. Now, using alter, we can rename the column also. We can rename the column also. Okay. कौन सा column तुम rename करना चाह रहे हो? Let's say I want to rename this address column. So instead of address, let me give some another name. So what I can do is I can say something like this. So the basic command will still remain same, alter table, and you can give table name employee. Then what should I go give? Kya? Rename. Okay, chalo. Then rename column name. Okay. And then let's say new name. And new name kya de dein? Let me say current address. Alter table, table name, rename. I don't think this is working. Yeah. alter table name, and instead of rename, I think I should give change. Change, alter table name, change column. Address. And अगर हम नया column name and then let me see further. एक second. Further, 50. Okay. See, basically what is happening over here, this is little different syntax. एक second सब लोग please यहाँ पे देखो. So alter table name. Then I am saying change column. Change column. Address is the name of your old column, and current address is the name of your new column. And you also need to add the data type. That what would be the data type? Though I am trying to only rename it, but I need to add the data type also. Now this will get renamed. Thoda sa little different syntax. It goes fine. Okay? It goes fine. If you run your describe function, you will see something like this. So the name has been changed to current address. So alter table name, change column, address, this thing, and give the definition also. Alter table, employee rename column, address to current address. Okay, so Shubham is giving me one more syntax. Let's see. I think it should work, though I'm not very sure. So he is telling me to use this thing. Alter table employee, rename column address to current address. As of now, I will try to rename current address to, let's say, Shubham ka address. Because ये Shubham ने दिया. I think they should go fine. Error आता हुआ नहीं दिख रहा, so it should go fine. So this will also work. ठीक है? Alter table, rename column, current address to this. So you can use both of them. So 62 and 65 both are working fine. Hello. क्या stack run करें? अभी तुरंत रन करने वाले हो क्या? अच्छा ठीक है एक 5 मिनट दो मेरे को, है ना, फिर देखना. ठीक है, ठीक. Okay. So using alter हो जाना चाहिए. ठीक है. See, basically there can be multiple ways to do the same thing. ठीक है ना? Using alter, we can add the column also to the existing table. ठीक है? We can add the column also to the existing table. So what is my table? My table is something like this. So first of all, let me drop this table, drop employee, because I have made so many changes that even I don't know the final table क्या है. Drop table, name employee. क्या कह रहे हो? You are saying something? Someone? See, basically, don't be much worried that कि इससे rename से हो जाएगा, change हो जाएगा. Remember at least one of the idea. ठीक है? There can be multiple ways in which the same thing can be done. ठीक है ना? Let's say you want to rename something, you should be aware of at least one of them. If you know more than one, that is well and good. ठीक है? Okay. If I want to add a column to my existing table, so then what should I do? Add. कैसे add? Alter table, and I'll say table name, add, and let's say you want to add another column. Let's say कौन सा column add कर दें? Add let's say where the person is living, city, and then you need to give the description also, varchar let's say 10, and I think they should go fine. No problem. ठीक है? ठीक है? So if you are trying to add a column, then you need to give the description of that column also, na? That whether it is integer or varchar or date format, right? So employee is the name of your existing table, city is the name of the column which you want to add, and the column city would be having varchar 10. If you want, you can see run this describe function. ठीक है? देखो city add हो गया with varchar 10. ठीक है ना? Please use it to add a new column.
So what if we want city column to be in middle?
City column to be in middle. अरे बाप रे. Add तो वो सबसे आखिरी में ही होगा. I don't think बीच में add कर सकते हो. But while fetching the data, you can change the order.
After column is करके भी हो सकता है.
After लिख के दिखाओ क्यों? I am not aware of it. We can pass index value to change the column. Order table employee, change current address. Query लिख के दिखाओ. पहले रन करके देखना, अगर वो सही रन करी तभी शेयर करें. ठीक है? Okay, let's say if I want to rename the table. If I want to rename the table, then how can I rename the table? Should I use alter? This time alter is not needed. I can directly use rename function. Rename table, and let's say table name. So for renaming the table, you need to give the old name and the new name. Rename table, table name, old name, and let's say new employee. क्या प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है? I think something is missing. Okay, 2 is missing. Okay. Rename table employee to employee number. ठीक है ना? So table will get renamed. क्या भेजा तुमने? अच्छा मैं आके देखता हूँ. Rename table employee to employee. To rename the existing. दिखाओ.
Alter table employee add salary and after age to HP1 salary add.
अच्छा ठीक है ठीक है. So that is a good thing. तो अगर आफ्टर हो रहा होगा तो बिफोर में होना चाहिए। ट्राई करो, लॉजिक तो यही कहता है, नॉर्मली सॉफ्टवेयर से डिजाइन होता है। Right? Okay, so I think for today we will keep it over here. Okay, and since I have not given you tea break, so I'm which script? What we did today, तुम्हें पूरी स्क्रिप्ट चाहिए? अच्छा, कैसे भेजें? फाइल वाइल तो मैं सेव वेव नहीं कर रहा हूँ, वो नहीं भेज सकता। What I can do is I can put it on the chat if you can take it from the chat. तुम साथ में कोडिंग नहीं कर रहे थे? बट मैंने जो स्क्रिप्ट करा है, मैंने तो उसमें बहुत बार अपडेट डिलीट कर दिया ना, तो वो सारा कोड मेरे पास थोड़ी ना है। But still, let me say, since you are stressing so much, I can slowly put it on the chat. Okay, guys. So this week, probably on Friday, we would be having class. I'll try to come to the class. Okay. कितना भी कुछ issue रहे, but I'll try that I come to the class and session is there. And so please one second. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we would be discussing SQL, and probably Monday also. So next 4 to 5 sessions would be dedicated to SQL. ठीक है, आज जो भी करा है please practice करके आओ. And our main aim is to learn how to use our select joins, nested queries, all those things we would be focusing a lot over there. ठीक है ना? With this, I'll end the session. Thank you for it.